it's interesting that Black History Month is February, since it's the shortest month of the year and the coldest. But in many ways that makes sense because we live in a semi-permanent winter as Black Americans. It is so often a time of darkness that I was struck the other day when I read about this poll that was released, I think a week ago, and it was discussed in the Washington Post. So the Washington Post reported that although Blacks and Latinos have been the hardest hit by the current recession, they are more optimistic about the future than whites. This appears at first glance to be paradoxical. You know, after all, we have an unemployment rate of 15.7% compared with 11.9% for Latinos and 8% for whites. For Blacks, it is actually, we hit a high of 16.5% in October 2009 compared to a high for whites of 9.4% in the same period. The underemployment of Blacks, however, went from 14.4% prior to the recession to a high of 25% in June of 2010. Add to this the foreclosure rate, which has pushed Black home ownership down to 45%, while whites have a 74% rate of home ownership. The public sector crisis, which has increasingly received attention as it should, is also and will continue to have a disproportionate impact on the Black worker compared with the white, which is an additional factor as to why this crisis merits our attention and activism. The public sector has been the major employer of the Black worker, particularly in light of the economic restructuring that we've been witnessing over the last 30 years. Yet the poll goes on to say that whites tend to blame Washington, and particularly the Obama administration, for this economic mess, rather than focusing on Wall Street. Blacks and Latinos tend not to blame Obama. It is another bit of irony, however. Many whites believe that Obama has been too cozy with Wall Street to the detriment of the average person. So what are we to make of this poll, and what is the relevance of it to tonight's discussion?